How often do you go through life taking for granted the fact that a mega carrier has your back when it comes to you onboarding with them? Not all mega carriers are created equal. Stand by for a story you need to know about to protect your bottom line.
Shall we begin?
Most times, when we learn lessons in trucking, we learn them with the understanding that the lessons themselves are more important than the money we spend learning them. So you go through years of training, you go through years of working in the business, and you figure out how to be a trucker. And then you make that big leap to go buy your own authority, purchase your own truck, get your own insurance, get set up, and become, quote, a businessman. So what's the next step? You have to get customers. So it makes sense you want to open yourself up to more load boards. So you do like everybody else does. You get out on Google, you do a search for, quote, load boards, and you look at all the possibilities. You get all these options. You start clicking to download, you start looking at requirements. Then all of a sudden, a couple of days goes by, you get a couple of loads, you get all excited, you get thinking, oh great, I've got all these customers. But then reality sets in. Then all of a sudden you get a call from that one carrier that says, oh, we're willing to work with you, do a couple of things for us, and then change over your insurance, because we require different insurance than the major other companies do. And you think, okay, no problem. You make that call, you make your change in your insurance premiums, you do all that stuff that company just told you need to do to work with them. Then you get a call a day later saying, oh, sorry, you don't meet our minimum requirements.
Carrier got this and said, hey, we saw your video the other day about JB Hunt, right? Get this, people. Had my authority since 2015. Working with JB Hunt since 2018, was told on the phone they are using artificial intelligence to decide what carriers can continue to be onboarded with JB Hunt. As we're sorry at this time, you did not pass our internal vetting criteria and are not eligible for setup or use. We are unable to share our criteria externally. However, you may feel free to reach out again in a few months, but our matrix was created by our compliance and or security team to identify vetting criteria for onboarding or updating carriers. You know, so they have something called, I know, right? The matrix.
The matrix.
I mean, it would just make more sense if they just said, hey, y'all, you know, we need these loads for our company drivers. As a company, we just got to keep everything in-house right now.
So now what? One such individual found this lesson out.
Audio, and welcome to another edition of Truckin City Journal. We are all about creating an environment where you can trust a news show. There are plenty of trucking channels out there that are willing to give you what you need to survive. But do they give you the truth? And furthermore, will those people that are bigger than you take the time to show you what you need to know to make a successful career out of trucking? So let's take, for example, today, a situation I've been made aware of whereby someone with very little experience, by that I mean I've been in it 14 years, I've seen a lot, I've done a lot, but then there are those that have only been where I once was, and they take advantage of people like me in that circumstance. I think that is uncalled for. It's atrocious. It's a hell of a learning curve to have to go through, but it's unnecessary, because you know what? We're all human. As a friend of mine in the business says, truckers are people too. If you're person responsible for hiring for either a small company or a mega carrier, pay attention to this video. It's an eye-opener, because you need to know what we go through out here, okay? Whether we have 15 years experience or whether we have 5 months of experience, either way, we deserve the same attention to detail. I have with me a friend that I've ran into because of the many times I've reached out and asked people to comment below, send me email, tell me about your story and things you need to know. You can do like this gentleman did, send an email to that's trucking news at outlook.com. That's trucking news at outlook.com. We will certainly pay attention to you, your story, and what it means to you. And there's a gentleman with me today that I would like to introduce you to that has had quite that experience. And I mean it's a very negative experience if it's not treated right. If you're new in the business, you need to know about this fella. You need to know about his story, and you need to know about a mega carrier that's honestly not looking out for you like they should. Bill, you took an interest a short time ago to become a trucker. Before you get into your story, what is it about you that makes Bill the kind of individual that you are today, such that you were interested in becoming a trucker?
I was in a family business with my dad for 30 years. I repaired sewing machines. After that, I went into welding inspection. I was a certified weld inspector with the American Welding Society for 13 years. During COVID, I wasn't able to find any work, so I decided to start driving truck.
Look, so
So,
when you were actually at a point in your life where you decided you wanted to do something with your life, at what point were you presented with the option and idea to become a trucker? And what was that one thing that made you pivot to that deciding point? I want to get my CDL. What was that one thing that happened?
like I said, over the years, my dad had always told me, be a truck driver, be a truck driver, and I was thinking of something else, and like I said, I couldn't find any inspection jobs for a year, and I had to do something. So I said, you know what? Now's the time. I'm gonna start driving truck. And so I've been driving for 3 years, and I thought, well, I'm gonna buy my own truck. So it's been almost a year now, and I bought my own truck a year ago this July, and I got my own
Congratulations.
authority and work for
Congrat-
myself and don't have to listen to anybody.
Congratulations. That is a choice that a lot of people make. A lot of them, mind you, do it a little bit later in time, but I'm not going to fault you for that. I mean, you made a decision on your own to make a jump into a business that at the time satisfied your needs, your lifestyle, your commitments, as you say, what you were interested in doing. And the fact that you did that, kudos to you. Congratulations and welcome to the industry, by the way, my friend. So let's get into exactly what it was that attracted you to make that jump and buy your own truck and make that decision to get your own authority. See, a lot of people don't do what you did. A lot of people just choose to work for others and gain experience for a longer period of time. Myself, a great example. I started in trucking working US Express. I started with them, worked them with for about 2 years. Then I went and worked for another mega carrier, Warner Enterprises, worked with there for almost 2.5 years. And then finally, after a total of 5 years in the business, I then decided, okay, I'm going to make the leap and buy my own truck. What happened in your trucking career that you decided, okay, I'm going to do it when you did? What was going on in your mind at the time?
My whole family has been entrepreneurs. My dad started a family business. My mom owned her own beauty shop. Um, my brother started his own business, and personally, I wanted to be able to make a little more money than being a company driver, being paid 52 cents a mile and driving down the road and counting down the miles and adding up the 50 cents. And, it just, I want to be my own boss. I don't want to have to have a rear facing camera in my face during the day. I don't want to have dispatchers cramming loads down my throat and being afraid to reject one.
It's all about the money, and it always has been. So, I got the title down below here at the bottom. Well, initially you told me that the initial cost was the 1,400 for insurance. Is that right?
Yeah,
1,400.
there's increase in insurance, and then how much do you lose sitting for 4.5 days?
Exactly.
2,000?
We'll get
Couple
we'll get
thousand.
to that.
That's cool,
Yeah, we'll get to that in just a moment. But if your situation resulted in getting you $1,400 back, would you be made whole?
No,
In your eyes,
I want to be treated fairly and honestly and respectfully, and I want what I'm worth.
Okay.
That was just an increase in insurance. I have my time for sitting for 4.5 days.
And I want to ask the audience, do you think overall that when someone onboards you as an independent contractor, either with it be your own authority or with the understanding that you're a paid contractor and you work under their authority, if they make you pay for things and then all of a sudden, without warning, decide, you know what, you're not qualified, do you think that's right? Do you think that there should be some sort of procedure that would penalize people without going through the motions of telling you step by step by step by step what needs to be done, and before you invest the first dollar, help you decide whether you proceed or not? Because it seems to me, the more I talk to this gentleman right here, that did not happen. So for the sake of this conversation, you say 4,000, Bill. I definitely I sympathize with you, because that's a lot of money and it's wrong. I don't care if you're a big company or a small company. That is a lot of money. What was it that made you decide to flip that switch and make that call?
Okay, first of all, the name has been out there. You see their trucks everywhere on the road, and I got a phone call from somebody from the company. I never contacted them. They contacted me and said, "Hey, we got this power only program. We got a dedicated load board for you guys." And the more I thought about it, it's like, this is a pretty big company, and this sounds like a great deal. Dedicated load board. You can plan loads 2 or 3 ahead of time. And she was telling me there's people making good money doing it, and this and that, and they're constantly running. So I thought, okay, hey, this sounds great. Okay, I'd like to come to work with you.
Were you in a recruiting program or on a list of any kind, or had you personally called them prior to them reaching out to you, or was this just out of the blue?
The only thing that she told me was she saw, because I downloaded their load board app, and I was looking at loads and stuff, and that's why she contacted me. She said, "Hey, I see you've been looking at our app, looking for loads. I want to talk to you about this program we've got." So that's what started the ball rolling.
So let that be a lesson to everybody watching. Sometimes when you download apps and start querying over load boards, you become entered into a database and you're going to start receiving solicitation calls. I've never gotten them myself because I don't experiment with different load boards, but it can happen. And what this man is dealing with right here is exactly what can happen to you if you're not careful.
But yeah, she offered me to get on their power only team and a dedicated load board for that. And so I said, "Hey, this sounds great." We talked over the period of like 2 or 3 weeks off and on. So another week or 2 went by, and finally I called her. I said, "Okay, I'm done. I got this load drop. I'm ready to come to work with you."
So now, if I read what you're telling me, you've run loads for this particular company prior to what you were trying to do. Am I correct?
Never ran a single load for them.
Okay, so
I was just looking at load boards, trying to find loads, and in order to get hooked up with them, I was going to have to go through a process. But she contacted me about the power only program.
So this was a case where you were trying to actually just one up yourself instead of running the load you're used to running. Do something giving you more options, basically. Am I reading that right? Okay.
Yeah, I've got 7 load boards loaded on my phone right now. So, if I can't find one somewhere, I'll jump to another one. Okay.
All right. So now, seeing that, being an individual like yourself, with your own authority, with your own insurance, with your own numbers, everybody's doing what they're supposed to. You inquire with them to run their loads. Do they at any point in time give you a list of This is what we demand of pre-qualifying carriers to work with our load boards. Do they tell you any of that?
She never explained any onboarding processes. She never explained criteria, qualifications, anything like that. She just started right off. Make a change to your insurance coverage, make us a certificate holder, and send me a COI, a certificate of insurance with us as the certificate holder. So that's what I had done.
No checklist, no, you've got to have X number of years experience, you've got to have X conditions on your license, no violations, background check requirements, clearinghouse entry database, all that. None of that was explained to you.
Nope, nothing at all. And then she went in for an operation and was out of the office. That following Monday, I got an email saying, "Sorry, you're not qualified to be a carrier for us." And so I called the guy. I called him, and he didn't want to say anything to me besides, "You're not qualified to drive for us." And I said, "Well, what do you mean I'm not qualified?" He goes, "That's all I can tell you." I said, "Well, I'm the one being shut down here. It's my information that you pulled up that you don't like. Tell me what is the information that you have." And he says, I can't discuss that with you. You're not qualified to drive for us," and pretty much just hung up on me.
And at that point, had you already cut ties with all the other options that you had, the other load boards and all that, with the anticipation of working just strictly off their load board?
Well, I shut down for 4.5 days waiting to get a load out of the Chicago area because that's what they told me to do.
Right.
And so I sent them a COI with them as cert holder, sat 4.5 days thinking, all right, here we go. I'm going to start driving for these guys. I'm going to start making some money. I told my family about it. I was really excited. They were excited for me, and everything sounded really, really positive.
Mhm. Yeah. It's a shame that they actually dismissed you like that. I think the leading problem sounds as if that person going on vacation and losing contact with you was a problem. But I know that on another live, I've said before, and I put down my email address down below because I have an interest in this, specifically because on a prior live, I discussed a story Mother Trucker brought to light about JB Hunt having an issue with their onboarding process. Now, the company we're referring to is, in fact, JB Hunt. They have recently suffered the same fate that all other mega carriers have suffered because of a new program being directed and administrated by FMCSA. They want to make sure that everybody that is actually listed as a carrier for all these mega carriers, they're having to now recertify because of this huge push the FMCSA and DOT is now putting through to get rid of fraudulent companies. And it sounds to me like you, my friend Bill, are a byproduct of that problem. And this girl going on vacation, where she could have explained this to you and explained simply what procedures you needed to take to go around that and still be a legitimate carrier, were missed. Obviously, that would have taken 5 minutes, maybe one or two emails. But in the meantime, you've invested money, you've invested time, 4 days, $4,000, and you're left holding the bag. So if nothing else comes out of this video, say again, I'm sorry.
To this day, I haven't gotten any notification from the FMCSA to recertify or re-register or anything. So I have no idea what you're talking about this stuff.
This won't come from them to you individually. This will only apply to those individuals that have MC numbers that are listed as carriers with mega companies or insurance holders or certifications. I don't know the full breadth of it, but I know there's recertification going on with a lot of mega carriers, and it sounds like it started with JB Hunt. Mother Trucker made that video, and I'm probably going to hear about more. If you have information as an audience, put it in the comments. Let me know if it's more than just that one carrier. Either way, it's something to pay attention to. It's something you can learn from. And it's certainly something that I'm sure will probably ease Bill's mind as to what cost him 4 days and $4,000. It's ridiculous. It don't need to happen. And if you work for JB Hunt and you're watching his video, reach out to this man. I think he deserves an explanation, because to actually go through a process, then at last minute say nothing to him, and then suddenly say you're not qualified, not even tell him why, that's wrong. And I know every single person watching this video will agree with that very statement. I don't care how long Bill's been driving, whether it's been 5 years, 5 days, 5 years, 5 decades, it doesn't matter. You owe him at least an explanation. At the very least, and at the very best, would be an apology. But I would think that just reach out to him. Say, hey, look, I'm sorry you got wrong. Here's what I'd suggest you do moving forward. That by itself would be $1 million. You know?
Okay, here's
money.
what they need to do.
That's what I think should happen. Last word to you, Bill.
JB Hunt has been in business for many years, and they're huge.
Yes.
You would think they would have a process down for onboarding. Get my information. Sue Mason is the lady who called me. And Steven Jackson is another one of her cohorts who are just blowing me off. Every time I email them, I get a automated vacation response every single time. What are those guys on vacation all the time or what? So they should have got my information and said, let's make sure you're qualified to drive for us, okay? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd give them my information. They would call me back and say, oh, sorry, you're not qualified. I would have said, fine, see you later. Then if I was qualified to drive for them, then I should have been asked to make a change to my insurance and to make them a cert holder and send them a COI. That should have been the second step, okay?
Yeah,
but
that would be.
It was done completely backwards. What are they doing around there? Don't they know what they're doing? Are they untrained? They should be fired from their jobs because they don't know what they're doing, and they're putting my livelihood in jeopardy. Just so you know what this downtime and the increase to my insurance. I called my insurance company and told them I never pulled 1 mile for them.
Right.
And they said, oh, sorry, too bad. You made the change, blah, blah, blah. You still owe us the increase in insurance coverage. Also, I was 2 weeks late on my truck payment because of this debacle that I was finagled into by these uneducated, non-caring JB Hunt employees.
For those of you looking to get ahead in today's industry, when you look at these load boards, you need to be aware of exactly what this man just told you. Bill was really real true in pointing out the obvious. You know, we do our jobs out here, and all we want is honesty. So it's up to you as a Maga Carrier to deliver that. We drive the truck. We deliver the loads, okay? The trucks are what make the deliveries, but we, the individuals behind the wheel, we are what make the difference. So while you're out there doing your job, running your company, giving these people hope by offering these recruiting programs, remember, what comes around goes around. And if you keep it real, we're going to keep it rolling. Till next time, God bless.